I'm gonna play a video here. I'm very skeptical of this lady's claiming she's in New York, that she's being discriminated against. She has COVID-19. She's obviously Filipina, the language she's speaking, Tagalog. And she doesn't really say what the discrimination is, but she has a temperature of 41 Celsius, which is about 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit. If you really have a temperature like that, you go into like a seizure, like, somebody has epilepsy. You seize up. You're not really functioning anymore. You get like delirium. You don't know whether it's Monday or Friday or Sunday or what have you. You don't know the time of the day. You don't know who the president of the United States is. Stuff like that. Your brain is being cooked. But this lady seems to be functioning fine. And I'm not sure what her problem is. Maybe people know who she is, but I have a hard time believing this video. Also, as somebody who worked in healthcare since going back to, let's see, around beginning in 1996, yeah, 1996 and up, I've encountered, and I worked in many different facilities, and most of the time you run into Filipino nurses from the Philippines, and just about, I mean, it's hard for me to remember which facility I worked in. There wasn't any Filipino nurse, so it's kind of hard to believe that somebody is going to be saying they were discriminated against when chances are you're going to run into a Filipino nurse who might be taking care of you. So that's kind of hard to understand. But anyway, let's play the video, see what she has to say.
Kapamilya ko dyan sa Pilipinas. Lalo sa mga kaibigan ko, sa kamag-anak ko. Mahal na mahal ko kayong lahat. Di ka binaasikaso mabuti dito sa New York. Lalo kapag Asian ka. Discrimination. Pero, sa mga nag-yoyosi pa din dyan, ingatan niyo sarili ninyo. Itong COVID-19, seryosohin natin ito. Lagi kayong maghugas ng kamay. Tigil niyo na yung yosin ninyo. You never know who's carrying it and who's not. Mahal na mahal ko kayong lahat. Kaya natin to. Laban. Laban tayo, laban. Laban tayo. Labor breathing ako ngayon. Lalaban ako. Lalaban tayo. Mahal na mahal ko kayong lahat. Maligaya family. Salamat sa lahat ng panalangin ninyo. Lalaban tayo. Uuwi pa ako Pinas sa susunod na taon. 1 p.m. Lilipat nila ako sa ICU. Sabi nila, labor breathing daw ako. No. Lalaban tayo. Mahal na mahal ko kayo. Mag-ingat kayo lahat dyan. Ayaw nila ipakita yung video ng mga nasa emergency room ngayon. Madami dito. Katabi ko, 2 patay ngayon. Ayaw nila ipakita yan. Pero lalaban tayo. Kailangan ko ventilator ngayon. Baka 1 p.m. intubated ako. Fever, 41 degrees Celsius. But, kaya natin yan. Ingat kayong lahat. Ingat kayong lahat. Meron na akong mask. Binigyan nila akong mask. Ingat kayong lahat. Ingat kayo. Mahal ko kayo.
Okay. Uh, let's see here. All right. I have a hard time believing that. Um, Let me just say that I don't see any IV. Usually, if you have a fever, you're dehydrated, the first thing they do is they hook up a solution, normal saline. They give you an IV. It's supposed to be there, to make the point that, you're getting fluids. A hospital is not the kind of place to discriminate against somebody who's really that sick. You see, there was a lady, a black woman who came up from the South many years ago. She became an accountant in New York. She died. She was in the emergency room for 24 hours. And a younger woman pushed her and she fell, hit her head, and she died. And she was in the emergency room. She didn't go upstairs. She wasn't assigned to a room. So, if anything, well, she didn't have COVID. She had a different issue. But if anything, you would say, wow, somebody who has who's been in the emergency room for 24 hours, is that discrimination? Is it because she's black? No, these things happen in the emergency room. And especially nowadays in New York, being the epicenter of this pandemic, so many deaths here, so many people afflicted with it, so many cases here. So the hospitals are not going to be working the same. I remember time to time when I worked in the hospital, I worked at the VA in New York years ago. And I remember we had like called a code because I saw the patient. And I was just speaking to him and coming back, I saw him laid back. He was dead already, but still, you had to call the code. As long as they don't have a DNR in their file, which means do not resuscitate, then if that's not there, then you have to resuscitate. Even if they appear dead to you, call the code, and you have a professional come from different floors, even respiratory therapists. They all converge on the ward that I worked on, and trying to bring this person back to life. You know, whereas like the other day at the Brooklyn Hospital, they were saying there were like 3 codes, code blue, going off. So you had like 3 people in cardiac arrest. Can you imagine that? Normally you have one team that get together trying to work. So can you imagine having like 3 different cardiac arrests, which is kind of crazy. The staff is overworked. That's why they're bringing in people from different parts of the states because they can't keep up with what's going on. So for this lady to say she's being discriminated because she's Asian or what have you, she's Filipino, I find that really, a suspect, and it's kind of circumspect because anybody knows, yeah, if you've been in a hospital or you've been to a healthcare facility, chances are you've been taken care of by a Filipino nurse. They have many Filipino nurses here. I work with a lot of Filipino nurses, and they're some of the best nurses. So I think it's a kind of slap in the face to say that she was being discriminated because she's Asian, because chances are, you know, somebody who's probably Filipino was probably taking care of her. And she's really in a hospital, and it's really hard to tell based on the studio video that she gets. It's just the short thing. You can't really see. Yeah, I see the nasal cannula, for the oxygen. But hey, you can find that anywhere. You can get that or have one of your friends give that to you. put it on. If you want to be a drama queen and you want to put on an act, a performance, you can do that. I don't know, but I don't see any IV. Usually, if you have a fever, you're supposed to have an IV, running into you. You're supposed to have like maybe normal saline solution or something like that, because the body is going to be so dehydrated. And at 41 Celsius, let me just show this here since I got this up. Okay, there's a question here. All right. What happens if the fever goes above 105.8 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius? That's what she claims she got right now. 41 Celsius. What happens if the fever goes above 105.8 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius? The answer: if the body temperature rises above 105.8 Fahrenheit, it can cause irreversible damage to the brain. This happens because of high temperature denatures protein content of our body tissues and cells. Most sensitive are the brain tissues. That's correct. So if you have such a high temperature, you'll be like delirious. You don't even know if it's Monday or Friday. You probably don't remember your neighbor's name or somebody like that. A lot of things you wouldn't know because you won't be functioning right. It'd be like you've gone crazy. At that stage, definitely your brain is seizing up. It's just like running a car without oil in the engine. You know what's going to happen, right? The engine will seize up. That's what's going to happen to you. Your brain is going to seize up. Your brain is being cooked. And once your brain is cooked at that high temperature, you'll never be the same anymore. Even if they can bring the fever down, you'll be a vegetable for the rest of your life. So I'm really, really suspect of this woman. Maybe people know who she is, but she seems to be a good actress. Because I find that very offensive, somebody who worked in healthcare over the years. And I think a lot of Filipino nurses too, and doctors, who go out there and work and try to deal with their patients or help their patients, to say you're being discriminated because you're Asian. I mean, really now. I can understand having a complaint and say maybe somebody didn't give you the attention you need, and then to say they send you to ICU. Not that many people go to ICU. That means if you go into ICU, that means you're being taken care of, because that's better than being in the emergency room for 24 hours and just walking around or just lying in the bed. And that happens, by the way. People in the emergency room just lying there in the bed, and they're not sent upstairs to a floor. That happened. But she's saying that she's being sent to the ICU, and I believe a ventilator is being waiting for her or something like that. So if you're being sent to the emergency to the ICU and a ventilator is waiting for you, then you're being taken care of. No, you're not being discriminated. And if you are being discriminated, then you're in the right place in New York, where you have a bunch of different lawyers, who advertise on TV. If you've been the victim of malpractice or this and that, a medical malpractice, that you can have a case to sue. Even if you're dead, your family could still sue. You know. So I don't know. Her claims, what she's claiming, seem to be kind of outrageous. I don't know. I mean, it's not a laughing matter. I have to laugh, but what can I do? Because what she's saying just doesn't seem to make sense, and she offers no proof, really. You know, you can't really see beyond that video. We have no idea what's going on.